What up, YouTube? It's your boy, Detroit Love, PDubs, Restalgia, and Michael B with a live reaction to Arcade's announcement video. Let's get it started.
Hey, guys. Welcome to the show. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'm Patrick, your host, PDubs, and thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Loft Report, your arcade and gaming podcast show. And guess what, guys? We had an amazing week. It's been the killer week of arcades, the killer summer of arcades. And man, we have had an amazing week. Announcement after announcement from company after company. And Arcade1Up is no different. Today was their day to shine. And in my opinion, I think they did a pretty good job, and we're going to be talking about this. Joined on the panel, of course, I have a lot of my good friends, and guess what, guys? We are broadcasting live on 4 YouTube channels at the same time. PDubs, Detroit Love, Michael B, the Game Genie, Restalgia. Pick your poison, pick your chat room. Don't worry, guys. We will see all your chats, all your comments. But it's really, really cool, guys. We are broadcasting in 4 places at once, and it's super, super exciting. So let me introduce our panel. Of course, my co-host, you guys have seen him regularly on every episode of the Loft Report, is Spider-Man, a.k.a. Detroit Love. How you doing, Carl?
What up, everybody? How's y'all doing out there?
And then, of course, we're joined by Restalgia. What's up, brother?
Hey, how you doing, man?
And, of course, the Canadians. By the way, us Americans, why are we on top of you? Shouldn't we flip-flop positions? Because you guys should be north of us, right? You know,
we're sorry about that.
Yep. We got you guys in the bottom row, but our great brothers from the north include Michael B, the Game Genie. How you doing, my friend?
Good, man. What an exciting day.
It was an exciting day. And of course, guys, today we just want to focus on Arcade1Up and our reactions to their announcements. We've been waiting with bated breath. We've been on the edge of our seats, and the question is for all you guys in the chat, as well as for my panel guests here, did they deliver? And you guys will have to forgive me if you notice, P-Dubs isn't wearing his glasses. I can't find my glasses in the house anywhere, guys. So I can barely see, but I'm going to do my best to follow the chat, run the show, all that kind of stuff. So just bear with me if I make any mistakes, or if you see me go like this, you know why. Okay. All right, guys. So let's get talking. Michael B., what are your initial thoughts before we start putting some stuff on the screen?
Arcade1Up had a pretty good day. I mean, Miss Pac-Man, when they showed the cabinet last night and we saw the outline and we were all saying, it's Miss Pac-Man, there's that seed of doubt in the back of your mind where you're like, but is it really? Because we knew about all the complications with the legal battles and all that stuff. But yeah, that's Miss Pac-Man, and it looks beautiful, and I'm very excited about that. I just bought Pac-Man 40th, and yeah, I guess I'm buying Pac-Man again.
What about you guys? Go ahead.
Go ahead, Restalgia.
I'm pretty satisfied with what they put out today. I think that it's a really good lineup. I think they've kind of met exactly what they said they were going to meet in terms of expectations. So
Right.
I'm pretty stoked. I think there's a couple in there I'm not as interested in, and there's a few in there that I am interested in. So and I think most people are in the same boat. I think they're kind of got their eyes on at least one or two of them, and I think that's exactly what Arcade1 wants.
Right.
Yeah, the Miss Pac-Man looks nice. I mean, it really looks nice. Galaxian, I would have put Galaga on there versus Galaxian, but
Yep.
I wouldn't play any of the other three games on there. But Miss Pac-Man is definitely a winner. I would definitely like to see them get away from those game title plates, because that just takes away from the cabinet. I actually would just flip that cabinet, flip that board over and just have a black board and have those names on it. But it'd be nice if they start going with like a fake, coin door on those kick plates versus doing those names, because I think it's time to retire those things. But the cabinet looks nice otherwise.
Yeah. We're going to share the screen here. We're going to show you some pictures. I'm sure a lot of you guys have already seen this stuff. Arcade1Up definitely, brought stuff like, and they had a couple of twists. They had a couple of twists that we weren't expecting. A lot of us, we did our prediction video. What was it, last night?
Yes.
And unfortunately, that show ran long. It was an hour and 20 minutes. And, I didn't think that folks would want us to now do our reactions, but I got several messages and comments that people wanted us to do this show tonight. So we're pretty excited to do it for you and let you guys know what we think cabinet by cabinet, announcement by announcement. So let's really dive in and go cabinet by cabinet. Okay. So the first thing that I want to do here is let me pull them up, and let's talk first about X-Men versus Street Fighter, the arcade cabinet. And any one of you, go ahead and kick it off and let the followers know, let the viewers know what you guys think about this particular offering coming soon from Arcade1Up.
Okay, well, I guess I'll start then.
Yeah.
This cabinet, obviously, I mean, it shouldn't surprise anybody that we got a ton of leaks earlier on today, a couple hours before the announcement. And when I saw this, I was initially a little bit disappointed. And the reason for that is because looking at the game selection that we have on there, I think it was a miss not doing a Marvel versus Capcom in terms of the artwork. Now, that being said, when they actually made the announcement, it looks like there's going to be sister cabinets with slightly different games. So when I saw that, I was like, okay, hold on, wait a second. I think they are going the right route here. So it kind of changed my perspective. At first, I was disappointed. And then when I saw the second cabinet that they're releasing, I guess the sister cabinet or whatever that's going to end up being, I was actually pretty excited. One thing I'm still a little bit confused about is the Super Nintendo game that's on there. Right. And I mean, I have a ton of modded cabinets and things like that, and I throw console games on there all the time. A lot of console games do translate well to an arcade cabinet, but it just seemed a little bit strange that they threw like a random Super Nintendo game on one of these cabinets.
Go ahead, guys.
So I was watching another show, and there was this guy named John D on there, and he had a really good reason for why Mutant Apocalypse is on there. Because at first I was the same way you were. I was like, I don't want to see console games on arcade machines. That's not why I'm buying these. But he worked for Capcom back in the day, and he stated that the reason why X-Men Mutant Apocalypse is on there is all these games, when Capcom developed them, apparently told a story together. So he really felt that it fit. So, you know what? I'm the same way as you are. I don't want to see this trend continue. Like if they come out with a cabinet and they're like, hey, look, it's DuckTales. I don't want to see that on an arcade cabinet. Maybe a Coleco Mini, but not an arcade cabinet. I don't think it'll continue. I believe him. I think it's part of a thing, and I'm willing to see how it works when it comes out.
What about you, Spider-Man?
I think it's a nice looking cabinet. You know, I like arcade games on my arcade cabinet. I only have 2 console games. I got Tekken 3, and I have Mike Tyson Knockout. Outside of that, I like to keep it all arcade. I would have rather seen Marvel versus Capcom versus this particular game, but this is a pretty fun game.
Yeah. I mean, this is what they revealed during IGN, and then of course John D was on the 1UP Weekly a little bit ago and confirmed that there will be multiple SKUs of this cabinet. One with the X-Men versus Street Fighter artwork. This will be the first one that's released, and if you don't want this artwork, there'll be a separate SKU, a separate cabinet released later on that'll have the Marvel versus Capcom artwork. And possibly different games, but I can't. I'm not 100% certain on that. So I think that's kind of exciting. Me personally, I think fans of fighting games are going to be really, really excited about this cabinet, whether they get it with one artwork package or the other. I have enough fighting cabinets, so this one's probably not on my list. But for everyone else who wants fighting game cabinets, they're definitely going to be into this one, I think. I do actually like the X-Men vs. Street Fighter artwork on this one. I think it all kind of blends really well together. I kind of like that steel grated bezel. If you guys see that bezel surrounding the monitor, I think that was a really, really nice touch. And I do like the riser. I like just having all the characters, different characters on each side of the riser. I think appearance wise, I really like the appearance of this one, although I won't be purchasing it. If I wanted another fighting cabinet, I would probably get this one, right? What do you guys think about the overall artistic appearance? Now keep in mind, John D, what's really cool about stuff is when you first see something, you have an initial gut reaction, right? You have an initial reaction. You're like, oh my God, they put a Super Nintendo game on here, right? And at first, I had the same reaction as all of you when I saw the games list on the Kickplay. And my first initial gut reaction was, what the hell? But then John D, he was on Ralph's show, and he told the story of the reason why they picked that game, because it's part of a overall series of games, right? And it just kind of makes sense to me. And because of that, when you hear the full story, I'm actually kind of digging it. Like I'm thinking it was a good move. You know, if I own that cabinet, I might not play that game very often. Although I hear it's a really good game, because you know me, I'm more into arcade stuff than console stuff. But yeah, guys. Let me know what you guys think of the overall artwork on the X-Men vs. Street Fighter. We could just go Detroit Love and work our way down, make it easy.
Yeah, like I said, it's the nice looking cabinet. I don't think it's as nice as the Marvel cabinet. The Marvel cabinet is a very nice. I mean, I love that cabinet. But again, I didn't think that when I just saw it online. When I saw it in person, I was like, wow, this is a beautiful cabinet. So that could change once I see this one. But online, it looks really nice. I like the colors. It's pretty vibrant.
Yeah.
But it's sometimes just hard to tell until you actually see it in person.
Yep. Keep going.
Yeah. I don't mind the artwork. When I originally saw it and I saw the game lineup, I was like, I really wish they had done the Marvel versus Capcom. Now, I didn't hear that story about kind of the context on why the games were selected and how that all got put together. I ended up missing that kind of portion of the chat. But if there is a legitimate reason, like you guys are saying, if it tells a story, you go from one game to another, and it kind of progressively goes through a storyline, that totally makes perfectly fine sense. And I don't dislike the artwork. I'm not trying to say that this artwork looks bad at all. It looks great. And it is obviously kind of like an artistic rendition. This isn't based off of a specific cabinet.
Right.
And I think they did a great job with that. When I looked at this and I looked at the MVC cabinet, I do like the MVC cabinet better, but this looks, it looks really sharp. And I'd imagine that this is one of those cabinets that when you see in person, it will look 10 times better than it could ever look in any sort of photo.
Yeah. Yeah. Do we have any pictures of the Marvel versus Capcom? I thought we had some. If you guys have them, just send them to me and I'll pull them up for the viewers. Just send them. Go ahead.
Sorry. So if you guys watched last night, you know I'm pretty critical of them getting creative with the side artwork. But if you actually look up the X-Men versus Street Fighter cabinet, which was only a conversion kit to existing cabinets they had out, that is the right marquee. And most of those conversion kits just had like a big sticker stuck on the side of the black or red panel. And that's actually the artwork that was on the sticker. So they did a pretty good job of putting this together. I'm happy with this. I mean, for a conversion kit, I think they did a great job recreating the original experience you would have saw if you saw this in the arcade. So I really like the artwork.
Yeah, yeah. Although I'm maxed out on fighting games, I think those who want a fighting game. Although I'm maxed out, I think this thing is going to sell. You know what I mean? And also too, when they release the limited edition version, guys, the Marvel versus Capcom one, I'm assuming will be the limited edition with maybe it'll have Sanwa sticks and buttons. John D didn't confirm that tonight, from what I caught, and maybe it'll have different games included as well. I mean, that's pretty exciting stuff. So this cabinet will definitely be a big bucket of win for Arcade1Up. So yeah, good stuff here. Good stuff here. Let me get
before we move on. He did mention, John D did mention that they're going to have a Marvel or X-Men and Street Fighter stool that you can buy, so that you can have one of each if you like. So that's a little different than they've done in the past, making two different stools for one cabinet.
That would be new. That would be new. Now let's kind of.
Michael's got his hand up.
Sorry.
Before you go on, it's not one cabinet. Those are actually two different cabinets.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a different game selection on each one. So if you get the Marvel versus Capcom, there's a very different game selection. So there's some shared, but it's essentially two games. Like we didn't get three cabinets and a pinball table today. We got 4 cabinets.
Yeah. Yeah, today definitely has been a whirlwind. So trying to keep up with everything. But guys, let us know in the chat. Are you guys into that X-Men versus Street Fighter? Is that going to be on your fall purchase list? Because these are all the fall releases, correct? Isn't that what they said? Yes. And a lot of these will be shipping by, I think John said October. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. I think that's what I heard.
October, November is what he said. Yeah.
Yeah. So holiday season, all that kind of stuff. So while folks are putting their final thoughts in the chat about X-Men versus Street Fighter, let's switch to Big Buck Hunter. And I got to tell you, if you guys remember the CES leaked photo of the Buck Hunter cabinet, like we all kind of knew this was coming. We knew it was in the works. But that cabinet, if you remember, is very plain, very white. Yeah. Like
nothing like this here. Nothing.
Definitely a prototype cabinet, right? Definitely a prototype cabinet. And now that we actually have the full artwork package on this bad boy, I got to tell you guys, I'm impressed. I think that this is sexy.
Yeah.
And let's talk about the artwork, and then we'll talk about the big reveal that John D revealed earlier today that makes this, I would have to say, revolutionary or groundbreaking, I should say. But yeah, from a looks perspective, guys, I'm giving this a 10. Like, I think this cabinet looks great, and I will definitely be purchasing this cabinet for my house. But yeah, Carl, let's just work our way down because we have a lot of people here. Want to make sure we get everyone's opinions. What do you think
this is definitely a beautiful cabinet. I mean, this is a very unique cabinet. I mean, it's eye-catching. They did something different with the nameplate, which I really dig. Put some color on there, put some pictures on there with it as well. I didn't think it was going to have 2 guns, so that's a bonus. I like it. It's definitely something I would like to have in the arcade here for sure.
Real quick, before we move on to Restalgia, we did get a super chat from David Deming. Thanks so much. He said, Dig Dug and Rally X mentioned by Scott for Miss Pack. I don't recall seeing that myself personally. Do you guys have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, that was in his IGN interview afterwards. He brought up the fact when they talked about Miss Pac-Man, he said, yeah, Miss Pac-Man is going to have Dig Dug, Rally X, and one other game on it. And then John D when he was on Ralph's show. And I'm sorry for not saying Ralph's show earlier, but I wasn't sure if I was allowed to say that or not.
Oh, it's fine. It's fine.
Okay.
It's fine.
So-
And I mean, in all fairness, guys, we understand that Ralph had a big show today. Ralph and I talked earlier today. I told him I would push my show as late as possible to not interfere with his, because that's what you do when you're being professionals. But obviously it's 9:30 on the East Coast. We want to get this in so some of you guys can go to sleep. Now, let's keep moving forward, though.
So I did want to mention John D did say that different Miss Pac-Mans are going to have different games depending on the SKU number. And that's something I guess we're going to talk about Miss Pac-Man later. So I'll leave that till later.
Yep. Restalgia, what do you think of the looks of this cabinet before we talk about the technology?
I'm pleasantly surprised. Based off of the leaked photos that we saw quite a few months back, this is like night and day. It's a completely different cabinet, very well designed. It's visually stunning. Like, it looks absolutely beautiful. I like that they went with the two different color guns. You've got a green gun, you got an orange gun. I mean, it just, in my opinion, this might actually be my new favorite cabinet in terms of just visual aesthetics.
Wow.
So, and it might actually be for a couple other reasons that we're going to touch on shortly, but I mean, it looks fantastic. And I mean, there's not a whole lot you can say. There's not much arguing that can be done about that.
Yep. Michael, what do you think of how this baby looks?
It's beautiful. I mean, they're going to sell a boatload of these. Everybody's going to want to have this.
Yeah. All right. So the big bombshell. Now, Arcade1Up was telling us they're going to do something groundbreaking, revolutionary. I was watching their announcements today, trying to find out what that was. I didn't really catch it in the announcements, but I did catch it on John D's interview with Ralph earlier, where he said that they have partnered with Sinden, and this is Sinden light gun technology with these cabinets. You'll notice there's no light bar sensor. And in my opinion, guys, that is huge. But give me your honest opinions. What do you guys think about that? And let me know in the chat. What do you guys think about Arcade1Up partnering with Sinden?
I absolutely love it. I mean, I've been back and forth with Andy from Sinden quite a few times. And I think the last time I chatted with him was about a month and a half or 2 months ago. I can't recall exactly. And just touching base of progress. And I had no idea that he had been working with Arcade1Up for this entire time. Right. They can't get a product like this done in a very short period of time. So obviously it's been a long working relationship. And that's really exciting, because based off of everything I've seen about that gun, it is going to be superior to any light gun tech that we've seen so far. Yep. And I mean, nothing else can run on an LCD screen without a light sensor. So this is fantastic. Like, I'm super excited to see the tech actually running on this cabinet.
Yeah, we definitely want to see it running, and if this thing works out well, it's just going to open up the door for so many other shooters. So I'm just excited. I'm excited about that for sure, man. This thing looks beautiful. You see, they got different placement of the speakers. You know what I mean? They got that big screen area. I wish they would have put a 20-inch screen on this thing here. It would have been beautiful. But I think this is something I'm gonna have to add to the collection for sure. This thing is nice. Yeah,
that's gonna look real good next to your Golden Tee, Carl.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Now, we didn't get our racing cabinet yet, but I'm sure that's going to happen in due time, right, guys? But my goodness, one thing that excited me, and I've mentioned this in other shows, is when Arcade1Up was producing cabinets and they just had sticks and buttons, right? Like all of a sudden, like, you're like, the wow factor might be wearing away. And then they changed it. They upped it. They gave us the Golden Tee cabinet, right? And it was a whole new experience, right? We have an arcade in our home with a totally different control system, totally different style of games. And then sure enough, we got some more cabinets released. And then they come out
Star Wars. I'm sorry. Star Wars.
And then when they released Star Wars, it was huge, right? Because now we have an arcade cabinet that has a flight yoke, and it was an amazing thing. We all had goosebumps when the sheet dropped. And then now, light guns. So in my opinion, huge bucket of win for Arcade1Up and the Big Buck Hunter cabinet. I will definitely be buying this cabinet. Sinden light gun technology. The thing is sexy as hell. This is probably the one I'm honestly the most excited about out of the four things that got released today. So well done. Well done, Arcade1Up. Any other final thoughts on this one before we move on to the next cabinet?
Yeah, I just want to throw in there that I'm actually excited about this cabinet, obviously for what it is, but there's also a side reason, and that's because of potential future licenses. So you guys may recognize, if you can go back to the logo that actually shows the front panel, or the picture that shows the front panel. I'm not sure if you can do that.
You can.
Yeah. So if you guys take a peek at that game list,
Click on it. If you click on it.
the big buck world. For those people who are familiar with that logo, you'll notice it looks like another game logo, and I have a good feeling that maybe this is a good entry point for Arcade1Up to potentially license a really popular racing game that I'm very much looking forward to, and I think that would be fantastic. If they're already working with the company, there's a good chance that we may actually see something like that down the road. So that's another reason that I was really excited about this too.
And before we move on, what do you guys think the price would be for this thing here?
Did they release that today? Did they say
Yeah, I don't.
anything?
They said they did. They said Star Wars pricing.
Yeah. So he didn't say a specific price, but he said it's going to be their premium tier. It's going to be one of their higher end, most expensive cabinets, I'd imagine.
So we're saying $599. What are we saying here?
In Canada, it's going to be like 75,000.
And 35 cents.
Yeah, those darn taxes.
Yeah. Okay, guys. So are we ready to move on to the next one, guys? I suppose we are.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. So Buck Hunter was my favorite. I know this one is Carl's favorite. Obviously,
this is my favorite.
Take a look at the costume he's wearing today. Now, here's my initial statement on this. Arcade1Up definitely pulled a little switcheroo on us, right? Like, we all were expecting Universal. During our prediction video, I rewatched it twice. Not once did any of us say Arcade1Up would do a Marvel pinball cabinet, right? Not once.
Right.
So,
I said I want them to do a Spider-Man, but they wouldn't just do a Spider-Man.
Right. But you know what caught me off guard is it was right there in front of us for the prediction. But we didn't take it, because if you guys have played Pinball FX3, where these tables are coming from, the Marvel series has well over 10 games. And we've been told by Arcade1Up, each cabinet will have 10 games. We were talking last night, like, if they came out with a Universal cabinet, what games would be on there? Because you would have maybe Jaws, E.T., Back to the Future, maybe the Jurassic Park games, but that doesn't get you to 10 games, right? So we were kind of like, how's that going to work? But this makes sense. This is easy. And they definitely pulled a switcheroo. And I guess we'll start with you, Carl, due to the costume. What do you think of the Marvel pinball machine?
This was the best switch up, because what they offered before, I wasn't a fan of. But this here, I like this, man. I like the fake coin door on it. And it from the video, was that the back glass? Was that a video, or was that a static picture? I thought I saw a video. I know the DMD is a monitor, but is the top part of monitor as well?
No, I think that's a static back glass. Yeah.
Okay, they might have it. They may have just had it moving. But I think this is definitely a winner for me. I mean, I love this thing. This thing looks beautiful.
Yeah.
And they put the plunger. They put the plunger on there. They have the plunger, which, the FX tables typically don't use a plunger. So that means they're going to have some old school games on there as well as the new school. So I'm hoping they have the Spider-Man one on there, but we'll see.
Yeah. I mean, it's got a plunger.
Yeah.
Which is really cool. Now, guys, before we move on to Restalgia here for his opinion on this cabinet, we did get a super chat from Mark Walsh. Thanks so much, my friend. He says, so is the Light Gun partnership the big future announcement? Was there any indication of expanding Wi-Fi to more cabs? If you ask me, guys, I think that the partnership with Sinden is huge. I think that is huge. That is not something to be looked over. So I'll take that as something definitely groundbreaking that they're partnering together. When it comes to expanding Wi-Fi to more cabs, I think John said today that it's going to happen, right, guys? What do you guys think?
I think in the original IGN interview, Scott had actually mentioned that there was going to be some sort of additional news or features. Specifically, I guess he was directing that to the X-Men Street Fighter cab. And my gut reaction is, okay, I'm assuming that means Wi-Fi. We're going to have some sort of online connectivity so that way we can play against somebody else on some of those fighting games. So, I mean, it hasn't been confirmed, but that would be the next logical progression. We've got Wi-Fi enabled for NBA Jam. I mean, fighters are going to be a fantastic way to get additional Wi-Fi features going. And I think that would be really, really popular.
Yeah, and we all talked about fighter fatigue. Like, we have enough fighters. Fighters really get interesting when you have somebody over, and the Wi-Fi aspect will allow us to constantly be able to play with somebody else, play with a friend. It's always more fun to beat the crap out of a friend than it is just to beat the crap out of the computer. So, yeah, that could be a big feature.
Right. And guys, what do you think of the appearance of this cabinet, the artwork they went with? Obviously, the Zen Pinball Marvel games, a lot of those are like, some homebrew Zen games. They're not based on like original arcade cabinets. So, of course, they went with an artwork package that was a little more custom. But we got plenty of characters all over this thing, different characters all over. What do you guys think of the artwork? And also, guys, let us know in the chat, what do you think of the way this pinball machine looks? Does it make you want to buy it? Does it look sexy? Let me know.
Yeah, so I mean, my initial thoughts on it, I do like what they've done in terms of the artwork. Being completely honest, this pinball cab is probably my least, the item that they released that was least interesting to me, just because we've seen their previous pinball cabs. There's nothing really different about this other than reskinning it and throwing in 10 different games. That being said, what they've done with it is it looks very nice. And the fact that they are not basing this off of an original cabinet, because none of the games are original games or recreations of those games. They are technically original games. So I think they did a fair job with it. I do love that they have the plunger now, and I'm hoping that they implement that with every other one of their pinball cabinets. I think that that's the way to go. Nobody wants a button. Everyone wants that plunger.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a pinball machine without the plunger, so I'm glad they put that on there. Yeah, I mean, it's not as kick-ass as my Spider-Man cabinet back here, but hey, I'll buy it. And like I said, they definitely did something different with the feet from the prototype. I think it's going to allow it to go higher than what the original one was going to do or allow. He mentioned that they're currently saying 7-inch DMD, but they're looking at getting an 8-inch on there. That's definitely going to help there. I like it. I don't have any complaints. Obviously, again, until you actually see it, it's hard to say what it's going to look like. Now, in this picture here, what is on the top of that back glass? What are those two things there? You see those?
On top of the back glass?
On both corners. What is that?
I think that's just glare.
Yeah, it's just a reflection, I think.
Oh, okay. It's just not rectangle. It's sort of like their cabinet.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, as you can see right here, it's just kind of like the glare of the photo, I suppose.
Yeah, I got you.
But yeah, guys, I mean, what's really cool too is John D and Arcade1Up confirmed that whether you want the Marvel, the Star Wars, or the Attack from Mars pinball, they're all going to be available at the same time, purchase at the same time, ship at the same time. So if you wanted to get your Arcade1Up pinball collection up and running, you could potentially have all three machines at the same time. So I find that pretty exciting that there's not going to be any like, hey, this pinball machine this month, this pinball machine 4 months later, all three coming out at the same time. So that's pretty exciting.
And the most exciting thing about this pinball period, again, I never enjoyed pinball as much as I have since I got this DIY thing behind me. I love it, but it's just a pain in the butt to get set up. It's ridiculous. I mean, I can play the FX3 games. I prefer the old school ones, the VOMX. Better the FX3 they just go overboard sometimes, I think. But they're a pain in the butt to get configured in the cabinet mode. So to be able to pick this thing off a Walmart shelf and just plug it in and get going, put it together and get going, that's just going to be so awesome because these things are super expensive. They're a pain in the butt to configure. You can have them configured, and the next day you come in, it's just not working for whatever reason, So I think this is a game changer as far as for their business, because once somebody come and play these at somebody's house, they're going to want one without a doubt.
Go ahead.
So I think you intentionally skipped over me when you were asking about the aesthetics.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't.
But one thing,
I'm sorry.
one thing
I'm trying to manage the screen, the chat, and everybody.
I know,
My
I know.
apologies.
And
My
he doesn't
apologies.
have his glasses on to see your hand go up.
And I don't
That's
have my
right.
glasses on, Michael. I'm so sorry.
So I'm not gonna comment on the side stuff. I said enough about how I feel about that. But what I do like, if you take a look at the actual outside, the chrome, isn't that different from the original release? Like when they showed these at CES, wasn't the chrome and the bevel down different color, different style?
I think they were black, weren't they?
Yeah. Hang on.
So I think that looks great. Of the aesthetics, that's the thing I'm the most excited about. I love the way all this looks.
Yeah. That's now kind of a silver color versus black. And I got to tell you, when I saw, because I was at CES and I saw the Star Wars as well as the attack from Mars pinball machines in person at CES. And guys, I know a lot of you might not have actually seen these in person yet, but pictures don't do them justice. I will give Arcade1Up credit for that. Because if it's the one thing that Arcade1Up does well, it's appearance, right? These things are art, right? And these things are definitely very, very attractive cabinets. We got a super chat from Dr. Zohar. I made up with John D on 1UP Weekly. I'm happy now. Thanks so much. I tried to watch as much of that show as I could, but I'm happy to hear that, Zohar. I'm happy to hear that it turned out okay. Hey guys, let's stop sharing our screen real quick here. I know we got a couple more cabinets to talk about, but we're making good time. I don't think we're going to go an hour and a half like we did yesterday. But we have another guest coming on. Take a look, guys. We got Stephen Haywood from the Tech Buzz joining the show. Hey, Stephen, how are you, buddy?
Hey, I've been running around acting crazy, fixing all these leaks that you all keep putting out there. I mean, like, this is ridiculous, right? Look, I'm all wet. Jeez.
What up, Steven?
Hey, guys, how's it going?
Good.
So I heard there's some announcements. What do we got?
Well, I mean, come on, you know what they are. Stop it. Don't tease us. Don't tease us.
You know, I was sitting there at the baseball game, and I'm like trying to pull up the live streams, and of course, there's like no signal. I have like 4G, so I'm like, gosh darn it, somebody send me a private message with some of this stuff. So I happened to see some of the stuff.
What's your favorite, Steven? What are you most excited about?
You know, as a hunter, I got to go with Big Buck Hunter. I mean, even if it just sits there, it looks pretty. I mean, like I said, as a hunter, that's a must buy for me, hands down. Miss Pac-Man though, I got to add it to the collection. I'm a big Pac-Man fan, so I got to get Miss Pac-Man. And I was gonna say, did you inspire that PDubs with your own little setup with Miss Pac-Man that you had?
Oh no! Well, I wasn't the first guy to mod and turn an Arcade1Up into a Miss Pac-Man. A lot of guys did it way before I did. What do you got? A storm coming?
But to answer your question, yes,
it's on the channel.
Oh no, I didn't inspire. I think honestly, I think the community inspired it, and we'll get to Miss Pac-Man and we'll talk about all that because I definitely have probably some sentimental comments about that we'll talk about here shortly. But Steven, since you're playing catch up, let's give the quick hits. What do you think? Obviously, Buck Hunter's your favorite. We talked Marvel Pinball and X-Men versus Street Fighter. What are your thoughts on X-Men versus Street Fighter and the Marvel Pinball machine?
Those are a pass for me, dog. I'm just being real. Like, the only interest of the Arcade1Up pinball that I have right now is the Star Wars. And that's because I'm a Star Wars fan and collector. So, other than that, Mission from Mars doesn't excite me. Nothing against anybody else. I mean, if you all like it, that's great. But I mean, I don't want to start filling my basement with pinball machines. I think Detroit Love said it. You know, like ever since he modded his Toy Shock, I mean, he's got every table known to man. Like, so with that games coming out with their table, I think with the Toy Shock and maybe the Arcade1Up Star Wars, I think I'm good. I think those three in my arcade, I'll save the room for some of these other arcades that Arcade1Up's bringing out. And I heard rumors, I saw it in your chat, that more are yet to come this summer.
Yeah, driving cabinets.
So
yeah,
got to make some room. But yeah, man, I think. What about everybody else? Do you guys like the Marvel, or are you going to stick with Star Wars? Because that seems to be the go-to right now.
I actually agree with Mike on this one. I like the attack from Mars the best. and I don't know what it is about that. I saw the Star Wars one, and then when I saw the Attack from Mars, I was like, okay, that's a winner for me. And I think it's just because it really does look very similar to the original cabinet, and I think that's kind of what I'm after. If I'm looking for just some random graphic artwork thrown up onto a cabinet with some modern games, you can do that with pretty much any virtual cabinet that you buy or build yourself. So I just kind of like that retro feel that one actually has.
And from my standpoint, it's the gameplay has to be fun. It has to be a fun table. Earlier I was playing this Iron Man on FX3, and the game is not exciting. It's not exciting at all. So if the game is not exciting and I don't like playing it, it's a no win for me. I mean, I'm not into the. I mean, I like them to look nice. Obviously, I say that all the time, but I like cabinets that I like to play, and so we won't know until these cabinets show up, and we get to play them, whether they're fun or not.
Michael, I don't want to forget you, my brother.
No, I mean, Restalgia took it out of my mouth. I'm going to get Attack from Mars because there's all kinds of different fans for this. Like, Carl, you want the experience, the gameplay. For me, I love the idea of having this classic arcade in my house and putting these old cabinets that look like old cabinets. So that's why Attack from Mars grips me so much. Some of the games on the other tables are going to be amazing, I'm sure, but for me, aesthetically, I'm just more excited about adding the Attack from Mars. So when people walk in, they're like, "Hey, I know that. I used to play that in the arcades."
Yeah.
Attack from Mars is one of those pinball games is very predictable. You know what I mean? You know what the objectives are, and it's a fun game to play. Again, that's what it comes to me is this thing fun to play? And
Right.
What were you going to say, P-Dubs?
No, I said right. I was nodding.
He can't. His spidey sense isn't kicking in.
Yeah. Hey, I don't have my glasses on. Be kind. Be kind. Guys, so for me, Star Wars was my number one pick, right? Like, I'm not a fan of the one side artwork panel. If that changes by the time it launches, I'll definitely be ordering that one. If it doesn't change, I'll probably still order it, right? But if I, but then again, I love Marvel. Like, I'm a big Marvel fan. So, the Marvel cabinet now, maybe I'll have to buy two. Like, I don't know, or maybe just get Marvel instead of Star Wars. I don't know. But Attack from Mars, I know it's classic based on real arcades, all that kind of stuff. I'm just not a fan of that table. But we all have our preferences, right? We all have our preferences. Yeah. Yep. So again, guys, there's no wrong answer. Buy what you want, make yourself happy. But in my opinion, I think Arcade1Up did a great job doing a switcheroo, and instead of doing Universal, doing Marvel, because now you definitely will have 10 dedicated Marvel games on a single cabinet versus like a mix and mash, which is what a Universal cabinet would be.
And that's kind of how I felt there with the Star Wars cabinet, right? The Star Wars cabinet looks phenomenal. They just didn't do justice in certain games that they put on it. There's a few others that they could have put on it. I mean, I think the panel would probably agree with that. But the thing looks fantastic, and so does the controller. It works phenomenal. So I guess for me, that's kind of how the pinball is. And, there's graphic guys out there, so we can get that changed.
And
just saying.
I believe they're going to have interchangeable backglass anyways. I'm not 100% sure if that's something they're going to offer afterwards, but it's something they keep bringing up in interviews. So, I mean, if the cabinet is poked away and you just see the backglass, you can throw a classic backglass up there, and I'm sure people are going to mod them and make them too. So,
yeah.
And the other thing you guys got to consider is that, I mean, for people like us who are really interested in kind of that retro feel, obviously we have our own ideas of what we want this cabinet to look like. But for the average Star Wars fan or the average Marvel fan that really is looking at it as just like a really cool conversation piece for their living room, I mean, they're not going to care what the artwork is. If it looks Marvel, then they're going to buy it and they're going to throw that in their living room. They're going to say, look, I got a sweet Marvel virtual pinball cabinet, or I've got an awesome Star Wars pinball cabinet in my living room. And I think that they're really going to branch out and hit such a wide range of new potential market. They're going to have so many more sales because of these devices.
Yeah, to be fair with what Steve's saying here is nobody's ever come into my arcade downstairs, people hanging out, and said, ew, that Toy Shock graphic is god awful. Like, really? Nobody's ever said, "Oh, that bezel looks horrible." Now these are regular people, but you line those cabinets up side by side, nobody sees the artwork, anyways, right?
Yeah.
Good point. Good point. Good point. So, are we ready to move on and talk about what I think was their headliner?
Before we do that, going back to the pinball, I've got a little bit of a gripe with the pinball.
Oh
So
no,
it's not a big deal.
All right, hang on. Let me find it.
Okay.
Let me find it. Let me find it. All right.
You mean another gripe?
It's just one more little gripe, and it's not even a gripe. It's something that I just hope that's going to be available. So they had mentioned that it's going to have an acrylic top, and acrylic is inexpensive. It's much easier to ship. In terms of logistics, it makes total sense. That being said, I'm hoping that acrylic top can be modded or replaced. I hope that it's somehow interchangeable because from my personal experience, acrylic is so soft, you can scratch the snot out of it with your fingernail. Like it'll get scratched up in no time. So what I'm hoping is that we've got the ability to be able to take that acrylic off and maybe get some glass put in, go to a glass shop, have a custom piece of glass cut for $50 and throw it on there as well. I would love to see that kind of ability to swap that out and actually make it more substantial, if that makes sense.
And I agree 100% with that. I mean, this Toy Shock, that's what I love about it. It's real glass. It makes a huge difference for feel, for touch. But I think I don't see any reason why it wouldn't be able to be swapped out.
Yeah, I've seen 2 YouTube videos where people were kind of comparing the Toy Shock versus the Arcade1Up pinball machine. Within the last couple of days, these videos have come out. I'm not going to name the YouTubers, but both of them claimed the Toy Shock had a plastic or a plexi cover over the playfield, and that's not true. It is definitely glass. If you guys saw the Toy Shock review video on my channel, I literally did drop tests for everybody. I was taking keys, like my car keys, and throwing them at the glass, no scratches, nothing, because it's specially made to be impact and scratch resistant. I'm pretty sure the At Games pinball machine will have that. And yeah, I would agree with you guys. I would really, really hope Arcade1Up switches to glass if they can make that happen for us.
Well,
yeah.
What about those of us that have cats? My cat jumps on my Toy Shock all the time. And Steve, now you got me scared because
it sounds like you need to get rid of your cats. I think that's your problem.
I have tried, but the wife and the daughter, they suckered me into getting a second one. So yeah, but I see paw prints all over it, and with the Toy Shock and At Games got glass. Arcade1Up, man, what are you doing?
Yeah. What's funny here, guys, we got a super chat real quick from Game Reviews. Thanks for your contributions to the gaming world. He gave us a $5 super chat. That is $1 each, guys. $1 each. Thanks so much, brother.
We just need another 600 super chats, and I can get one of these tables here in Canada.
It'll be a lot more than 600.
Yeah, guys, help finance Michael B's pinball fetish. So let me pull up the other one. Go ahead, guys, while I'm trying to find the lady, the headliner.
And while you're pulling that up, I just want to say I dropped a huge screwdriver onto the top of my Toy Shock by mistake, dead center. That thing just bounced off. And that thing is nice. You got to have glass for sure.
Yeah, I like glass. Okay, guys. So obviously, what I think, in my opinion, was their headliner, their showstopper, the main event. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is the one that they really wanted to shock us with, and they although I kind of predicted it. You guys remember my prediction video? I said it would be a Ms. Pac-Man Galaga 1981 reunion cabinet, but the 40th anniversary of it, because 2021 is next year, right?
Right.
It's gonna be Ms. Pac-Man and Galaxian instead, and a couple other games. But I was so close. But I personally am super. Let me get the screen shared here. I am super excited about this because this Miss Pac-Man is my favorite Pac-Man game of all time out of the 20 different games that have been released. And before I fanboy all over this, what are your guys' thoughts? And we'll just Detroit Love work our way down, make it easy. What do you think about Miss Pac-Man being released by Arcade1Up?
This is the Pac-Man I've been waiting for because again, I'm 54, so I started off Pac-Man was the man, you know what I mean? And I played tons of that. And when Miss Pac-Man came out, I ditched Pac-Man. and played tons and tons of Miss Pac-Man. So the first Pac-Man came out, the 40th edition came out. I had no interest because I wanted Miss Pac-Man. So I'm excited. This thing looks awesome. It looks nice. Again, I would get rid of that nameplate. I would probably put coin doors on it without modifying, the actual internals. I'm just not filling those game lists on these cabinets anymore. They need to just put a fake door on or just keep it black. But yeah, this thing looks awesome minus that kick plate.
Yeah, see, this cabinet, the original cabinet, came out 10 years before I was even born. Mm-hmm. So, like, I had no experience with this. It was never around in any of the arcades that I would have went to as a child. I don't think I saw this cabinet other than photos. I don't think I've ever actually seen one in person, like an actual original cabinet. That being said, I absolutely love this cabinet. I think it looks fantastic. Definitely, if somebody were to say you have to pick either Pac-Man or Miss Pac-Man, it's going to be Miss Pac-Man 100% of the time, every single time. And I think this is going to be their big seller. This is going to sell crazy amounts more than any other cabinet, any of their future cabinets. It doesn't matter what they come out with. This is going to be their number one seller. And this is a home run. Like, in every sense of it, it's a home run. Maybe they could have chosen a couple of different games to throw on there. But honestly, the game is, you want Miss Pac-Man. That's the big game. And that's what the cabinet looks like. It's just, it's perfect. I can't really say anything negative about this one.
Restalgia, you're so much younger than all of us.
Oh, you have no idea, man.
So I'm getting ready for my 40th anniversary too here soon. So I'm really excited about this. I can't follow what Restalgia said. It's perfect. I mean, I wish I never bought Pac-Man 40th a couple weeks ago because it's more Pac-Man, but it's Miss Pac-Man. The thing I'm really excited about, they mentioned that there's possibility of Dig Dug coming home on this in a different SKU. We're in Canada. We really only get one SKU, so I'm praying, fingers crossed, that we get the SKU with Dig Dug as well. So I'm definitely going to be buying this, hopefully with Dig Dug.
Don't worry, Mike. If we can't get the Dig Dug version in Canada, I've got a great courier that only charges me like $6,000 to bring him over the border. So,
what do you think, Steven?
Sure, I have to follow up all these guys here. What is this? No, you're good. I think the cabinet looks phenomenal. I told my wife when we were at the ball game, I was like, must buy. She's like, where are you going to put it? I'm like, I'll find a place. I don't care if I have to stick it in the bathroom. But one of the things that I think would have been cool is if they started doing the reversible plates with the games to kind of fit the cabinet with the artwork. The other thing I thought was we're missing that slanted control surface, kind of like the 40th should have had. I kind of thought, like, since they were going that direction, maybe they would have kind of learned from people complaining that it didn't have that maybe they would have put it in. But other than that, I mean, I'm being nitpicky here, of course. But other than that, I mean, I'm down with it. I'm with the other guys. I'm buying it, man. Day it comes out.
Yes, this was a big bucket of win for Arcade1Up. Once again, caught us all by surprise, although we kind of predicted it. And the only reason why I predicted it was because of the shape of the cabinet matched the Pac-Man 40th, right? When we got the silhouette teaser. That's the only reason why I predicted it. Guys, up until yesterday, up until that teaser came out, I was not predicting that this cabinet was going to happen. And then when that came out, I was like, wow, that looks just like my Pac-Man 40th. Holy cow, it's going to be Miss Pac-Man. Did they do it? Did they do it? Did they find a way to make it happen? And they found a way, guys. They listened to the fans. The fans have been begging for an officially licensed Miss Pac-Man cabinet from Arcade1Up, and they made it happen. So I'm pretty stoked about it. Now, of course, I built my own Miss Pac-Man with a 60-1, right? But it doesn't match my Pac-Man 40th, right? Because the cabinet shapes are different. I'll be honest. I'm going to buy this thing because I want the cabinets to match. I think they're going to. I think they're going to look great together. And in fact, guys, you guys know that I was a little hard on the Pac-Man cabinet, Pac-Man 40th, right? 6 out of 10. This actually, for some weird reason, this makes me like that cabinet more. The fact that I'm going to have these cabinets side by side, isn't that funny? Like I like my 40th a little bit more. Now it's a 7 out of 10.
But
now it's a 7.
Are we going to have to stand in line on Thanksgiving Day to get this thing, or did they mention? Again, I didn't catch the stream. I'm going to have to go back and watch it. Did they mention when these are going to launch, at what time frame, or are they just throwing out Q3, Q4, that type of thing?
October, November.
You're right.
Man, we are going
Dang it! Arcade1Up, you're going to make me for the 3rd year in a row stand in line on Thanksgiving Day.
Hey, Steven, I've got a great courier that'll ship it right to your door for $6,000.
Yeah. So, you know.
And I don't think these are going to stay on the shelf, so these are going to be tough to find. These are going to be tough to find. And I'm like Michael B. I believe that's Michael B. said I want the Dig Dug. I don't want Galaxian on there.
Yeah.
If I can get Dig Dug and Miss Pac-Man, because I definitely won't mod this one. This will be the second unmodded cabinet for me. Obviously, the hunting one wouldn't be modified either, but I like this.
Yeah, guys, that powder baby blue, that is such an amazing color. No matter what room of your house you put it in, it pops.
Somebody messaged him, why didn't they, just to keep it with the 40th, like that powder blue, like you're saying, why didn't they keep the names on the front but use powder blue instead of the black on the front?
Well, I mean, that's a staple of Arcade1Up, where they have the kick plates with the names of all the games included. They haven't changed it in almost 2 years. I don't know if that's ever going to change. But guys, that's why we have Tyler at arcadegraphics.com.
Well, I mean, I like what they did with the big
We'll
buck
get
hunter.
a baby powder blue that matches this cabinet. Yeah.
Wait
a minute, but the buck hunter one is actually it has artwork on it. It actually has artwork. Hold on, let's pull that back up real quick. Yeah, let's pull that back up real quick.
I mean, and you got to take a peek. I mean, it's a very different cabinet than anything else that they've released. But I mean, if they did something like that going forward with just some sort of graphical artwork that's not a static black background, I think people would like that quite a bit. I mean, I personally would, assuming they're using the right color scheme to match the rest of the cabinet.
Yeah, the only other time we saw this is on the Space Invaders cabinet, right? The Space Invaders cabinet had a kick plate. So,
Star Wars,
yeah.
Oh, and Star Wars. Yeah, that's right. God, man, how many cabinets have they released now? 20? It's getting crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, guys, in my opinion, Arcade1Up, make your kit plates look like this moving forward on all your cabinets. Throw some graphics. You can still put all the names of the games on there.
Exactly.
I mean, this looks great.
Yep.
It makes a huge difference. But that Miss Pac-Man, I definitely would go with that. The glowing. I don't know if you guys saw I forget the young lady's name that they buy Tyler's graphics and put it on a transparent.
Gamer Mom.
Yeah, Gamer Mom. Yeah, man, that Miss Pac-Man, that definitely has to have that glow kick plate. That thing is going to look awesome.
Yeah. So it sounds like all of us are probably going to own Miss Pac-Man in the future. Am I correct? Is that what I'm hearing?
Assuming we can get it, yeah.
Am I going to own Miss Pac-Man in the future?
He's asking the wife.
No comment. That's not good. I'll get back to you guys on that one. No, I'm just kidding.
So what do you guys think in the chat, guys? What do you guys think in the chat? Are you guys excited that Arcade1Up is going to deliver Miss Pac-Man? Are you guys going to get this holiday season? This is a cabinet that is fun for grown men, children, young adults, teenagers. Everybody loves Miss Pac-Man. I think that this is a huge, huge victory for Arcade1Up putting this out. What do you guys think?
Agree. 2 thumbs up.
Yep.
Like I said last night, they're going to sell 1 million cabinets just of that.
1 million cabinets just of that?
Mike's going to buy 500,000 of them. So
depends on how many super chats we can get.
Yeah. Yep. We got a lot of folks in the chat saying that they're going to be picking it up. Some of them might wait and see. Now, here's what's interesting. Let me pose this question to you. Now, I'm not trying to poke the bear, but obviously these cabinets are coming out. Pre-orders will probably be happening soon, right? But knowing that John D also kind of revealed that these cabinets will have multiple variations, multiple SKUs, what do we do?
Not pre-order.
Do we wait?
Not pre-order.
Do we order today? What are you guys going to do in the chat? Let me know. I'm just asking out of curiosity. What do we do? Because knowing that there's going to be another variation with possibly different games on it, it's like, I want to order today, but should I wait? I mean, it makes it harder, right? It makes it harder. What do you guys think?
Well, I'm going to wait on the Miss Pac-Man. One, because I want the Dig Dug on it, or even Galaga. combination would be my preference. But the second thing is I would get the Big Buck Hunter first, so I'll get that out the way, and then maybe that'll give time for the other SKUs to get available for Miss Pac-Man.
Yeah, I think what's going to happen is it's going to end up being retailer specific. I'm sure that there's going to be exclusivity. Walmart wants a specific cabinet that nobody else can buy anywhere else, and I'm sure, I don't know if Target sells them in the States. We don't have Target up here in Canada, but any of the other retailers that sell them probably want some sort of exclusive cabinet to drive and funnel additional sales that way. It's going to be a waiting game because we don't know which cabinet's going where, if some are going to be exclusively sold online, if they're going to be in-store pickup. Like we have no idea. I don't know if you guys sell them in GameStop. I don't even know if GameStop's going to be a thing by the time these things come out in the US. Like it's going to be a waiting game for those cabs that are going to have the different variant titles for sure.
Yeah. John D did mention that NBA Jam was going to be shipping this week, right? And have any of you got a shipping notification? I have not yet.
I haven't got a notification. Last I heard was June 20th is what I was told by Best Buy.
Has anyone in the chat gotten a shipping notification at all? Probably we'll wait and see.
Yeah, but I would think that the Miss Pac-Man is probably going to have the most variant, different options from stores, because I think people are going to want people to come to Sam's Club or to their store to get their version. So I think they're going to be offering a lot of different Miss Pac-Mans.
Maybe it's what is it? The shopping channel QVC version will have Dig Dug.
Well, let me ask you guys: wouldn't it be awesome if they just did a solo Dig Dug cabinet? I mean, I would buy that. Yep. I mean, I'd be down with that.
I don't know. I said this yesterday. I don't think that's the game that would make sense to make a solo cabinet out of. And I could be wrong. Maybe it's my age showing when I say that, but like, I can't see that. There's a diehard group of people who love that game, and there's going to be a lot of support for it. I just don't think it'd be a very successful cabinet in the grand scheme of things compared to what's been put out. I don't see that as being a flagship title. I see that as being an add-on title to another flagship game.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of people have put some great ideas in the chat. A lot of people are saying, order your Buck Hunter and wait and see what SKUs come out for the other cabinets. So I think that's what I'm going to do, because I want Buck Hunter. And we'll see what SKUs come out for X-Men versus Street Fighter, for Miss Pac-Man, all that kind of stuff. That way you can pick the one you like the most. What do you think, Carl?
Yeah, I agree. I think I said that verbatim a few minutes ago, but I'm really surprised. Steven's talking about Dig Dug. I'm surprised that Dig Dug has not shown up on another cabinet. I mean, they had it on the Countercade. It's been out. They have the rights to it. So I don't understand why Dig Dug has not been available. It should have been on this Pac-Man instead of putting Galaxian on there.
We did get a super chat from Snellworld. Thanks so much. He said, "Can't believe no Miss Pac-Man Galaga cabinet." Do you guys think it's because they just put Galaga on the 40th? Maybe they just said, we'll change it up and do Galaxian?
I would say, yeah. I think people would be annoyed if they had to buy a whole nother cabinet just for Miss Pac-Man. It doesn't make sense, because what'll happen is it'll cannibalize the sales of either the Pac-Man 40th edition or 40th anniversary, or it'll cannibalize the sales of the Miss Pac-Man. It's not, from a business perspective, it doesn't really make a ton of sense.
Yeah.
So, guys, we definitely don't want to make this show go as long as it did yesterday, right? I know everyone's tired. We're worn out. We've had a long day. We've had an exciting day. So let's each of us give our final thoughts on how Arcade1Up did today. Also, guys, in the chat below, put your final thoughts in the chat as well. Was today a victory for Arcade1Up? Was it a non-victory? Let's go ahead. Let's start with Michael B, the Game Genie. I don't want to forget you, brother. Let's start with you. Give your final thoughts, just whatever you want to say about how you feel today went for Arcade1Up.
I think today was a big win for him. I mean, first of all, I think everybody that ever turned on YouTube expected that to be the universal pinball table, so they really surprised everybody with the Marvel table. So despite all the leaks, they still managed to pull out a big surprise. Miss Pac-Man, guaranteed winner. I'm going to be honest with you, I wasn't very excited about Big Buck Hunter, but that cabinet looks beautiful. They did a great job, displaying that. There's still some question on whether or not that display in the front is going to light up, but I mean, that's gorgeous. People are going to buy that just for the way it looks. Marvel versus Capcom and X-Men versus Street Fighter. I wasn't excited thinking it was just going to be one cabinet, but the fact that it's really going to be two cabinet and there's options, I think a lot of people are going to do that. I think most people that were disappointed are just disappointed because they had too great expectations, like Donkey Kong, Tron, craziness. I mean, let's be realistic here. Unfortunately, we had a couple leaks, but the cabinets they released today are great sellers, and there are a lot of people happy. So, you know what? Just enjoy what we have, and there's going to be more in the coming, and more in the future. You'll get your Tron, you'll get your Donkey Kong. You're just going to have to wait.
Steven, what are your final thoughts on Arcade1Up and how they did today?
Me or
you,
Mr. Restalgia? Okay.
Tech Buzz.
Okay. All right. I think despite my preference with it, I think that all these companies came out swinging in the last couple of days. I think, kind of what Michael said. There's going to be a lot of people out there that are going to say like, "Oh, I'm so disappointed." Like and I've already seen some of the comments like, "Really, Arcade1Up? What was your big announcement?" And you're going to have those people because they're either disappointed or they're not going to buy the machines anyways, right? So I think for me, 50% of what they announced, I'm interested in. Not that the other cabinets are bad or anything. It's just they're not interesting, to me. I'm not a Street Fighter fan. I'm just not. I don't even have a Street Fighter the original. I modded it. So for me, I think it's great, and I think that the companies going forward, all the companies, are keep raising the bar on each other, and we all make out because of it.
Yeah, we all win. Yeah. Restalgia, what are your final thoughts on Arcade1Up and how their day went today?
I think that being completely honest, when I did see the lineup that was going to be released, I felt like it was a little lackluster because we didn't have as much detail as we did when John was on Ralph's show, kind of giving more information about each cabinet, why they chose what they chose, and kind of the story behind it, the context that really led to what made them make those decisions. Right. And I've got to say that I didn't get to watch probably even half of Ralph's show, but from what I picked up and the information that I got, it kind of changed my perspective. So at first I was like, it's like great. They're great cabinets. People are going to like them. It's awesome. Great job, Arcade1Up. But it wasn't anything that was crazy. The thing that really triggered it for me was that Sinden collaboration that they're doing. That is so big. And a lot of people maybe aren't into shooting games. They don't understand how complicated it can be to get light gun technology that works on an LCD screen. From a technical standpoint, it is such a huge deal. So huge shout out to them, because honestly, I didn't see that coming. I wouldn't have ever thought that they would go to an independent developer who's created a prototype of a product that hasn't even hit market, and for them not to snipe it, but for them to come in and grab that and implement it in their cabinets. And honestly, I don't think they would have done that if it wasn't working well. Obviously, it's been under R&D for a while. So, I mean, good for them. I'm really excited for that. And I think this is going to be like a foot in the door for so many other great things.
Yeah, real quick, before we get to you, Carl, Snellworld gave us a $5 super chat. He's pre-ordering my Pac-Man. Don't care about the variants. He just wants to get his hands on one any way, shape, or form as quickly as possible. Okay, Carl, it's all you.
Man, I play with these light gun technologies, and where you have to have this sensor 6 feet from the TV, and then you got to be another 6 feet back from it and all that craziness. So I'm excited about this. If this thing performs well, it's going to open up the door for so many other shooters. So I'm excited for that. So that by far is the biggest thing for me. Again, pinball is going to be huge for Arcade1Up once they finally get one out the door and get them in people's homes. People don't even know that they love a pinball until they get to play it. So pinball is going to be huge, without a doubt. Miss Pac-Man, people have been waiting for that thing forever. So it's glad to see that's coming out. I'm glad they didn't put any landscape games or nothing silly like that, but Galexian shouldn't have been on there. But you can't have everything. But I'm excited. The fighting games, I'm not a big fighter. Until they make a Tekken tournament, I'll never buy another fighter game. But I'm excited. I like the options. I like to see new things coming. Like I said, 2 years ago, most of us didn't have arcades in our home.
Right.
And now we have a lineup, that we get to play and walk up to and enjoy. I love getting off the couch and stand up behind these things and playing. So I'm excited for the things that they put out and what's going to come forward. So this is great for the gaming community.
Yeah. All right. So the reason why I wanted to go last is because I'm only going to give today a 6 out of 10. No, I'm just kidding. I'm totally kidding. I'm totally kidding. John D, calm down.
Can we quote you on that?
Calm down, guys. I'm just kidding. No, actually, I think today was definitely a much needed victory for Arcade1Up. Very happy that they pulled a switcheroo on the pinball machine, because I was worried about having a universal machine that's got all these great headliners, right? Like E.T. and Jaws and all this kind of stuff, right? Jurassic Park. Like Jurassic Park could be its own pinball machine and people would buy it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But for them to pull the switcheroo and go with Marvel, where we're going to have 10 dedicated Marvel games, and John D and Arcade1Up and Zen Studios are going to make sure that that thing performs the way it should. So you can probably play that with confidence that it will work and run the way it should. I think that was awesome. I think that was great. And Buck Hunter, what is the thing I'm most excited about? The Sinden technology was definitely groundbreaking, for sure. That's going to be an awesome piece of arcade in my loft. Like I'm almost speechless because of how excited I am about Buck Hunter and the Sinden light guns. That's huge. And obviously Miss Pac-Man is near and dear to my heart, and as well as a lot of other folks. And congratulations, Arcade1Up. You found a way for me to like my 40th Pac-Man just a little bit more, because now I got those cabinets. They're going to match, and I think they're going to look great sitting next to each other, the Miss Pac-Man and the 40th. And then, of course, now the fighting game, personally, I'm not a fan of, but I know there are hundreds, if not thousands of you who are excited about having another fighting cabinet. So I'm not going to say it's a bad thing, but definitely, but the fact that it's going to come with different variations, right? I mean, that makes it cool as well. So overall, I think Arcade1Up definitely succeeded today. I think they definitely got, they can walk with a little bit of swag right now under their belt. Real quick, guys, Antisocial Hero sent us a big super chat. Thanks so much. Finally caught a show live. Called it when I said Marvel Pinball. Yeah, it was kind of nice playing the guessing game. Like, were you guys kind of excited, like, if one of your guesses came true, or anything like that? Like, I got a little pumped when I heard about Miss Pac-Man.
I'm going to be honest with you. I really wish they didn't send out that silhouette picture yesterday.
Yeah,
because they kind of did give away some things. Like, Steven, you talked about it. Like, sometimes the teasing is a little bit too much. And like, if you look back on our review show last night, I mean, outside of us guessing that it was going to be Universal Pinball, I mean, we kind of nailed it.
Yeah, we pretty much got them all.
Yeah. Mark Walsh and I have a running gag back and forth about our Pac-Man scores. He gives it an 8. But I like it a little bit more today, buddy. I like it a little bit more. Okay, guys. So make sure you check out the links in the video description for all our channels. Make sure you subscribe to everybody: Restalgia, Detroit Love, Michael B, the Tech Buzz, PDubs. And we appreciate you guys tuning in, hanging out with us, and all that kind of stuff. You guys want to give your final farewells or anything final before Detroit Love sends us on our way?
Yeah, I got one thing to say. If any of you guys need a cabinet shipped, I've got a great courier that'll ship them to you for about
$6,000. And Michael B, I can push one across the Detroit River for you too, so that's always an option as well.
Yeah,
I'll meet you halfway in the boat.
Right.
Yeah, guys, Detroit Love is right there on the border. He can be your middleman, right? He could be your courier.
He's the guy that's charging $6,000.
That's okay. I get a finder's fee, so just make sure you guys come to me, and I'll connect you.
You guys are awesome. This was a lot of fun, guys. Trust me, guys. It's really hard to manage a show when you have 5 people and you got to make sure everyone gets a chance to talk. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the broadcast. Hopefully we kept you excited, and hopefully you guys appreciate our final thoughts on how Arcade1Up did today. I'm ready when you are, Carl. I hope all of you have a fantastic day.
Hey guys, thanks for watching, and until next time, we'll see you on the web.